If you are here, chances are you have come across this stunning portfolio of Camille Mormal. It's no surprise, it won Site of the Day, the work speaks for itself. You might remember I mentioned this site before when I did a video on that sleek landing page reveal animation. In today's video, we'll dive into another standout element from this portfolio, this seriously cool slider. The first time I saw it, I was blown away, but for some reason, I kept putting it off recreating it. Well, last weekend, I finally took the plunge and built what I think is a pretty solid version of it. Heads up, there is a lot going on with this one. We'll be using clip path to handle the main animation triggered by a document click, and we have got moving parts like the title animation and a dynamic counter at the bottom. I'll also show you how to make the preview thumbnails interactive so you can click through the slides with smooth directional animations. We are going to build this from scratch using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and of course my go-to GSAP. We'll also make sure it's fully responsive so it looks great on any screen size. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and maybe hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And just a quick reminder, you can unlock the source code with the Pro membership. The link is in the description. Alright, let's jump in. Let's start by creating a container div with the class name slider. This will hold all the elements we need for the slider. We'll break this down into 5 main parts: the images, the title section, the counter, the preview slides, and the indicators. For the images, we'll keep it simple for now. We'll just add one image and wrap it in a div with the class image. This will serve as the initial image in the slider. Next, we have the slider title. Here we need a wrapper for the titles, and the reason for that is because we'll be animating the wrapper's Y position to create the title movement. To achieve that, we'll add a div with the class slider title wrapper. Inside, we'll place 5 titles, each wrapped in a paragraph element. Moving on to the counter, similar to the title, we'll wrap it in a div with the class counter. This will hold the numbers for our slides. We'll add 5 numbers here, representing the slide order. To complete the counter, we'll also add a hyphen symbol and the total number of slides. For the slider preview, we'll add thumbnail images so the user can click to navigate between slides. Each thumbnail will be inside a div with the class preview and will assign the active class to the first thumbnail by default. Lastly, we have the rotating indicators. These are going to be 2 paragraph elements, each containing a plus symbol. We'll animate these to rotate as the user interacts with the slider. And that's the HTML setup. Next, we'll move on to the styling. Before we start, I have got the Inter font from Google Fonts. This will be our primary typeface for the entire slider. Next, we'll apply some global styles. We'll set margin, padding, and box sizing to 0 across all elements to reset any default browser styles. We'll also disable text selection by setting user select to none for a cleaner user experience. For the HTML and body, we want them to take up the full width and height of the viewport, so we'll set both to 100%. The font family will be set to Inter to apply it across the whole page. Now, for any image elements, we want them to take up the full width and height of their containers while maintaining their aspect ratio. Next, we'll style the anchor tags I used in the nav in my experiment and paragraphs. Both will have no text decoration, a white color, and a default font size of 14 pixels. Now onto the slider. This will take up the full viewport width and height and will hide any overflowing content. For the images inside the slider, we'll use absolute positioning so they fill the entire container. The slider images will handle the full height and width of this section, while each individual image is wrapped in a div with the image class to maintain their layout. Next, we style the slider counter. It will be placed at the bottom of the slider, centered horizontally with the help of transform. We'll also make sure the counter is neatly aligned using flexbox and clipped with a clip path. The counter numbers will be vertically centered by setting line height on the paragraph tags, and we'll use will change transform to make it more performant during animations. The slider title will sit right in the center of the screen. Using Translate, we'll center it both horizontally and vertically. We are also setting the height and width while applying a clip path to prepare it for the reveal animations. Inside the slider title, the titles will be wrapped in a div to help us control their positioning. We'll also use text align center to align them and set the font size and line height to give each title proper spacing. For the rotating slider indicators, we'll position them in the center and space them apart using Flexbox. These will also be centered both horizontally and vertically. The slider preview thumbnails will be positioned near the bottom right of the slider. We'll set a width of 35%, give some gap between each thumbnail, and make them look clickable by setting cursor to pointer. Each preview will have an overlay using the after pseudo element, which will darken the thumbnails by default. But when a thumbnail is active, we'll remove that dark overlay. Finally, for responsiveness, we'll create a media query targeting screen smaller than 900 pixels. Here, we'll widen the slider indicators, adjust the size of the preview section, and reduce the font size of the titles to ensure everything fits neatly on smaller screens. And that's our CSS setup. Now let's move on to the JavaScript and bring this slider to life. First, we need to make sure everything runs once the document is fully loaded. So we wrap all our code in the DOM content loaded event listener. This ensures the script executes only after the HTML is fully parsed. We are using GSAP for smooth animations, so let's register the customize plugin from GSAP and create a custom easing function called hop. This customize function will give us a nice easing effect in our animations. Now we are going to select the important elements from the DOM. We need access to the slider images, the counter, the title section, the indicators, and the preview thumbnails. These are all the parts we'll be animating and updating as we interact with the slider. We'll also initialize some variables to track the current slide, the total number of slides, and rotation of the indicators. Next, we need a function to update the positions of the counter and the titles as we navigate through the slider. The counter and title positions are tied to the current slide, so we'll move them up or down based on which slide is active. For the counter, we'll move it by -20 pixels for each slide, and for the titles, we'll move them by -60 pixels. We use GSAP here to smoothly animate the Y position for both the counter and the titles. Next, we need a way to show which preview thumbnail is currently active. For that, we'll define the update active slide preview function. It simply removes the active class from all the preview thumbnails, then adds it back to the one that matches the current slide. The core of our slider functionality lies in animating the slides. The animate slide function handles this. The first step is to select the current slide that's being displayed. We use query selector all to grab all elements with the class image and then select the last one in the list, since that is the one currently active. This is important because we need to animate the existing slide out as the new one comes in. Next, we create a new div element with the class image, which will act as the wrapper for the new slide. Inside this wrapper, we create an image element that holds the image for upcoming slide. The image source is dynamically set based on the current image variable, which tracks the current slide index. Here is where the animation direction comes into play. We use set function to position the new image off screen either to the left -300 pixels if the direction is left, or to the right 300 pixels if the direction is right. This initial positioning allows us to animate the image into the view smoothly. Once the image is prepared, we append it to the slide image wrapper, and then the entire wrapper is appended to the slider images container. This effectively adds the new slide to the DOM, making it ready for the animation. Now that we have the new slide in place, it's time to animate the current slide off the screen. Again, we check the direction variable to determine where the current slide should go. If the direction is left, the current slide moves to the right 300 pixels, and if the direction is right, it moves left to -300 pixels. We use GSAP to animate this movement over 1.5 seconds with a power 4 ease, which creates a smooth transition. To create a nice reveal effect, we animate the clip path of the new slide. The clip path property allows us to control how much of the image is visible. We start the new slide with a clip path of either 0% or 100% depending on the direction. This hides the slide initially. We then animate the clip path to reveal the entire image as it animates onto the screen. Once the clip path animation is done, we also move the new slide into its final position. We animate the X property of the new image to 0, ensuring that it lands perfectly in the center of the screen. After the animation is complete, we call the cleanup slides function to remove any old slides that are no longer needed. Finally, we animate the rotation of the indicators. We increment the indicator rotation value by 90 degrees for every slide change, rotating it clockwise if we are going towards right and counterclockwise if we are moving left. Then we go on to adding an event listener to the entire document that listens for the click events. This will capture every click that happens on the page. We calculate two important values: the width of the slider and the horizontal position of the click. Slider width tells us how wide the slider is, which is important to know whether the click happened on the left or the right side of the slider. Click position gives us the exact horizontal coordinate of the click measured from the left side of the screen. The first thing we do is check if the click happened inside the slider preview section, the thumbnails at the bottom. Here the slide preview contains function checks if the element that was clicked is part of the slide preview section. If true, it means the user clicked on one of the preview thumbnails. If the click was on a thumbnail, we need to figure out which thumbnail was clicked and navigate to that slide. The closest method finds the nearest element with the class preview to ensure we target the right thumbnail even if the user clicks on image inside the preview. Next, we calculate which slide corresponds to the clicked thumbnail. Using arrays from method, we convert the node list of all preview elements into an array. Then, using index of function, we find the index of the clicked thumbnail within that array. Adding 1 to the index gives us the corresponding slide number. If the user clicked on a thumbnail that corresponds to the current slide, we do nothing. Otherwise, we check if the clicked slide is before or after the current one and animate the slider in the appropriate direction. If the clicked thumbnail represents a slide number that's different from the current slide, we determine if the clicked slide is before or after the current one. If the clicked slide is before the current slide, we move the slider to the left using animate slide function. And if the clicked slide is after the current slide, we move the slider to right using animate slide again. Once the slider is animated, we update both the active preview thumbnail and the counter and title positions. If the click didn't happen on a preview thumbnail, we handle it as a regular click on the slider itself. This logic determines whether the click was on the left or right side of the slider and animates the slides accordingly. If the click happened on the left half of the slider and we are not already on the first slide, we move the slider to left by decrementing current image and calling animate slide function. If the click happened on the right half of the slider and we are not on the last slide, we increment current image and call animate slide function again. After the animation, we need to update the UI elements so the correct thumbnail is highlighted and the counter and titles move accordingly. Finally, we add the cleanup slides function to maintain performance and efficiency by removing old slides from the DOM once they are no longer needed. Since we dynamically add new slides during each transition, we need to ensure that we don't accumulate unnecessary elements over time, which could slow down the browser and impact user experience. If the number of slides exceeds the total slides limit, in this case 5, it removes the oldest slide. This prevents excess slides from accumulating in the DOM. And that wraps up today's tutorial. I hope you found this video helpful. See you in the next one.